Hi, my name is Dan Meharg, and for many years I've worked with kids to help grow wildflowers. My work as a park ranger has meant that I've worked with kids to collect seeds and grow seeds in their home or classroom and then plant wildflowers out in the environment. And the reason why wildflowers are so important is because every third bite of food, so you can see all of these fruits and vegetables in this picture, need a bee in order to pollinate them. So this bee here has landed on a flower, and you see those little yellow dots on its leg? Those are pollen grains. So pretend this pen is a bee and it's flying around and it's going over to this tulip. If it lands here on this tulip, it's going to collect little pollen grains on its legs. And if it flies over to this flower and drops some of that pollen off, this flower can begin to make a seed and a fruit. The same thing works with peppers. So if a bee lands on that flower right there and lands a pollen grain in the middle of the flower, that flower can begin to grow a pepper. One of the problems, though, is that we have a lot of areas where wildflowers can no longer grow. So this used to be a wonderful field, and now it's a parking lot. So we need to help see if we can transform our homes and schoolyards and parks into places that can have places where wildflowers grow. So for example, in our front yard here, we had these bushes, but they got damaged by an ice storm. And so what we did was we removed the bushes and we put a wildflower garden there instead. That's something that you could do. Also, something else that we need help with is having fewer invasive species. So for a human community to be great, an interesting, vibrant place, we need people from all over the world to come and share their culture and their food and their interests with us. But in a natural world, plants can't change quickly, and so an environment like this isn't so great. When all these flowers bloom, bees are happy. But then when these acres and acres of invasive species stop blooming and start making berries, the bees are upset. It's like, hey, what happened to all our flowers? So what we need instead is we need a wildflower garden where you have a whole lot of different wildflowers, all blooming at different times during the summer, and all different shapes of wildflowers. So this is the kind of wildflower garden that I helped kids restore, and you can help do this too. So I just want to introduce some of the some of the pollinators to you. This is a monarch butterfly. You see its curly tongue here. It can stick it into these flowers and collect pollen and nectar that way. This is a bumblebee. You can see it's collecting pollen on its leg to bring back to its babies. And so what are the things that you can do in order to help? You can collect some wildflower seeds when they're ready. And then you can plant these little seeds in your classroom or at home, grow them underneath a grow light, and then bring them out to your backyard or to your schoolyard in the spring and plant them like these kids did. And I want to show you how you do that. So this is evening primrose right here. And when evening primrose gets pollinated by a bee, it transitions from a flower to this green seed pod. But the green seed pod is not ready to be picked yet. It's only ready to be picked when it looks like this, when it turns brown. And so I have a little collection tray here that I'm using. I'm going to collect evening primrose here. And I'm going to just take the seed pod and break it open. You might want to come close so you can see this. Inside the seed pod, in these 4 little chambers, are seeds. And when birds peel open the sides and get the seeds, they accidentally make a mess and dump out the pods. So you can see here. Let's see if this one still has pods in it, or still has seeds in it. Now this one looks about empty. Let me see about this one. See if this one has any seeds in it still. So you see all those little black seeds that are coming out? So I can collect these by removing the outer area and releasing the seeds into this tray here, and I can collect a whole lot of evening primrose seeds that way. You can see I'm just going to release the seeds from these 4 sections here. See that? You see how many seeds I've even just spilled on the desk here. I'm going to try to collect those. So that's evening primrose. There's another flower wildflower that's super important called blue vervain. This is what it looks like when it's flowering. And when it's ready to be picked, the stalks get really long and you see these spikes on the top. So for blue vervain, I'm going to take the stalks, and it's pretty easy to clean these. You just peel off the tops, or the stalks, just like this, right into the container here. You see what that looks like there. And New England aster, now this is a little bit trickier. This is what the flower looks like when bees are landing on it. And then it looks, we usually say, oh, the flower is dying when it looks like that. But what really is happening is the flower is still very much alive. A bee has landed on it, has pollinated, and now the flower is totally focused on making a seed. So the bush or clump of New England aster will begin to form these brown seed pods. And then when they get fluffy and white and look like this one here, they're ready to be picked. Now, in order to get that, now normally what happens is when the wind blows, those will float off and travel and land other places. But if we want to grow them indoors, we need to remove that white fluff from them. And the way we do it is we just get some kitchen strainers like this here. And we're going to very carefully take some of the fluff and rub it on this screen. And we're going to try to get the fluff, which is called awl, to stay on the top and have the seeds land underneath. There, you see? I need to try to remove as much fluff as I can. New England aster, if you plant them as seeds, only about 20 or 25% of them will actually turn into a plant. So I need to collect a lot of seed just to get a few to grow into little baby plants. Now in the next video, I'm going to show you how you can get the seeds ready to germinate or begin to grow indoors. So stay tuned for that one.